Hey my friends, I apologize for just cutting you off in the last video. The noise got so overwhelming and then I was going to redo the video and I realized I can't really redo the video, so I'm going to carry on from where we left and hopefully that'll be fine. So as you know, I don't edit my videos at all, so I make mistakes, and I think it's just a reflection of our lives. We try and squeeze in time where we have it. So I was busy painting this ATC when we got cut off, and I would just like to show you that it's dry, so nothing transfers onto my hand. And as you recall, I went over the areas with the paintbrush, so you can see some of the areas have got ink on the raised areas, and we are just going to buff it with our nail buff, making sure that you keep your buff very level, so it must be horizontal to your ATC. So I very rarely leave the alcohol ink untouched. I like to distress it because I think it gives a bit more interest, and also you get to see, you know, the little creases in the background and that. So there you go. And that was our denim and pistachio that we used for that background. The next was your protea that we did. And also I'm going to distress the back a little bit with our nail buff. Not too much, just a little. Now the interesting thing is, on this protea, I didn't do any background techniques. So the background itself is really smooth, and hence the ink can kind of buff off or even rub off with a soft cloth or towel. It will rub off, but we are just dressing it just a little. Okay, so there's our protea. And then this one also, we went over the certain areas quite a lot. You can see like here, there, and I want to show you what we're going to do again, using our buff horizontal. And remember, we're working with texture paste, so it is actually quite easy to buff through your tape when you work with texture paste. So you have to be extra careful buffing. There you go. So even those little areas that we have gone over that we don't really like, so you can see there's a little area. What we can do if it bugs you, and generally I don't worry about it, but if you are a little bit irritated that it doesn't look perfect, a small bit of nail varnish remover on an earbud. Just make sure that it's not too saturated. I'm just looking for my lappy, okay, or a tissue, and then I can't seem to find my tissue now. I'm just rubbing some of the alcohol, not the alcohol, the acetone on the book because I don't want to have too much, and then you can gently wipe the areas you don't like. But I really do that. I kind of like imperfect things. So yeah, the trick is with your cotton bud to make sure it's not too saturated, because then the acetone runs off the raised area onto the inked background and you have to redo the whole thing. It's very difficult to touch up an area. Okay, so that's if you're very fussy, and how gorgeous that looks. Okay, let me put the acetone away. Okay, another one of my favorite colors that I use quite a lot is this dark eggplant color, and funny enough, the sunshine yellow. They're quite a contrast and they come out really, really nice. So let's have a look what card we can use for that. out of my many cards that I have. I kind of like this tract that I've done. So let's do Sunshine Yellow and Eggplant and see how well this comes out. So these two colors seem to work really well, and yet if you look at them you wouldn't think so. So once again, haven't cleaned my brush between colors. And you will also notice that some of the inks seem to dry quicker than others. So this Eggplant, I don't know what it is, but it definitely dries quicker than the Sunshine Yellow. So you notice that I didn't put a lot of ink all around the card, because I've obviously learned my lesson there. And another dollop of Eggplant and Sunshine Yellow. It kind of gives a vintage feel. I don't know if you agree with that, but a very interesting contrast. And obviously when the yellow and the Eggplant mix, it kind of makes a grey sort of blacky color. Can't seem to show you properly now, but I will. And there you go. Just lifting it up. I'm going to put a bit of ink there by the wheel, and there you go. So Eggplant and Sunshine Yellow, and that'll look great. Let that dry. Okay, so those are another two favorite colors that I like to mix together. And then I don't know why it is, but I'm just drying off my brush on here. I really enjoy the turquoises. It's my favorite colors are the turquoises. And I have a little sea one, or little mermaid tail. And this one, once again, I haven't techniqued the background at all. But we're going to color it in the two of my favorite colors, which is Mermaid. I think that's quite appropriate. And then this is it says Stream. It's a lovely blue. So we'll use these two colors, because I think it's very appropriate we use Mermaid on the mermaid's tail. So here we go. So Stream is like a lovely turquoise color. It's really beautiful. And they complement each other really well, these two colors. Well, I'd love to know what your favorite colors are, so please share them with me, your color combinations. And of course you can use more than two colors. You can use three if you like, but I just find that two works for me. So I very rarely use one, and I very rarely use more than two. Okay, and you can see now what I mean about you give your project some depth by mixing two colors. Okie dokie. Remember, just short sort of dabs, brush strokes. I'm going to get in the nooks and crannies there. And here again, put some mermaid. Okay, so you can see that I dab my finger in it over there, but don't worry, once we buff it, it will be perfect. And there you go. So here we have our colors Stream and Mermaid, and I'm going to use them again for another ATC that I had, which was this lovely one, which is a Stingray, and I think these two colors will also look great for my Stingray, so let's use that. Okie dokie. And remember that you don't get the true color of the ink because you have your black Sharpie in all the little nooks and crannies, and your Sharpie also distorts the original color. So just keep that in mind. You sometimes might get a purple undertone, and I love that. I love that it's not just a flat color. Okay. And then going into the little nooks and crannies here. So did you know that most of the goodies that I make in my tutorials, I also bless people with many unexpected surprises. I trade ATCs and I sell them. So if there's something you like, have a look. Okay, so here we have our colors again, Stream and Mermaid. And I just really, really love those colors. And then I think the last one we will do today is just always remember to close your inks between painting, so you don't waste them because they evaporate quite fast. And this one we're going to use, this is another brand of ink. I've actually taken the label off, and I really don't enjoy it, but I don't have any other orange, so we will use this no-name brand of orange, but if you've got Ranger orange, that's just better. And so you can see there's a bit of a greenish undertone. Obviously I worked with blue in my previous card, you know, and it's going to come through on the ink of this card. But you know me, I like it to be different. If you are the kind of person that wants to have you know, true colors, then I would suggest you clean your brush between colors, but I honestly don't think it's necessary. And there you go. Now I really chose this because I wanted to show you how wet, can you see how wet this card is? And it's the orange ink. It seems to be very wet, very thin. You know, the liquidity of it, if I can put it that way, is very thin, and it takes a long time to dry. So it is not the same as Ranger ink. I'll lift it up again for you to see what I mean. And it's sort of, what's the right word? If you can have a look there, you can see it's very runny, and it makes these dark patches where it just sort of sits. And that is one of the reasons I don't really like other brands of ink. But you know, if that dries overnight, it'll be fine. But I'm not patient for overnighters. Okay, now a little bit of ink on my arm. And I said that's the last one, but I actually would love to show you another one. Let's see what we can do. I just love this cat. He is absolutely gorgeous. And the cat was actually a die cut from a Happy Mail friend. I really wish I had another one. It's just beautiful, and I only have one of these. And I think we are going to use our, no, don't want to use that orange. We're going to use our eggplant again. So for that aged look, vintage look, eggplant and sunshine yellow. Now you can also see that when I first put my brush down, I always put it in a dot of ink for a second or two, just to absorb some of the ink. It makes it easier to move the ink around. So I don't know if you noticed that I did that in previous, on previous cards. Okay, So put a little bit of our eggplant. Yeah, so today's all about color combinations, and you've got to experiment, because some of the colors you'll put together will react with each other in a good way, and others will just be a disaster. So you have to just see what works for you. You know, you don't want to just make mud. And some eggplant here. Isn't this cat the most beautiful thing? I'm not really a cat person because I'm allergic to cats, but I love making things with cats on. Guess I'm compensating here. Okie dokie. So here you can see that I dropped a bit of the eggplant ink over there, and I'm leaving it to dry, and then I'll clean it up. Otherwise I'm going to end up smearing it all over everything. Okie dokie. And the horrible orange and our yellow. So I think that's enough for color playing today. Let's have a look and see what we can buff. So our stingray is dry, and as I mentioned to you, this color seems to dry the quickest of all the inks. I don't know what it is, and when it dries it's kind of matte. I don't know if you can see, it doesn't have a very nice shine, but obviously we're buffing everything so you don't notice it when you're done. And here we go. And on this card I did a background technique, so it really looks amazing once you buff it. Let me show you. You can see I made like little curly waves. Too cute. Okie dokie. And then our tractor. Also, the tractor, I used a stencil to create some background interest on the tractor, and it really looks lovely. So how's that? It says dirt, and there's little tractor tire marks, tractor treads. And this one seems to have dried. We've already buffed that. And I'm afraid this one is not dry yet. And our chicken, which we did just now, is still absolutely saturated. You can see how wet it is. So yeah, beware of other brands of alcohol ink. They're not always brilliant. We can do this little mermaid tail. Just distress the background a bit. And here also I didn't do any techniquing on the background, but I did write the word dream. And I don't know why I think that this video is completely upside down, but anyway, I hope you enjoyed that, and let me know which one was your favorite color combination. Take care and have a lovely day.